Hey, hey, hey everybody! It's Miriam here in the Paper Wheel Studio. Do you ever wonder what you can do with these extra large books? Well, today I'm going to show you one idea, and in a future video I'm going to give you a second idea for you could use a large one, but I'm going to use a smaller one because smaller books are easier for me to manage on and off my tray. However, that's a future video, so you stay subscribed and like and keep watching my channel. That video will probably come up this week sometime for you. These books are larger. They work great because you can fold pages in half to put in journals. So I have taken the pages out of the inside. This one just has blank white covers. And then I have this highlights book. It's from the 1970s. It actually has some pretty cool things on the inside cover. However, I'm not real sure. I'm not real sure I'd want to put it in a journal, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. So I'm going to give you an idea on what we can do today. Now, I have my broken ruler here, but you can see the 1 inch starts right here on the end, so it's still okay. And I'm going to use it upside down, obviously. The first book I have is, it's about 9.5 by 10. I could not put an 8.5 paper in this one. However, I've got some 8 by 8 papers that will fit in this just perfectly. I've got this highlights book. It's about, put it up on the end, 11.5 by, better turn it around so I can actually not have to read my ruler backwards here. This is a broken T ruler. It just happened to be the one I had around so I can measure these for you guys. It's 9 by 11.5, which is the perfect size to store 8.5 by 11 papers. So that's what we're going to make today. A couple paper storage. You could call them folios, folders, whatever you'd like. I like repurposing things instead of purchasing, organizing things. So I have these here that we're going to use today. You really won't need your ruler once you know the size of your book and make sure it's large enough to hold the papers you want to put in it. So all you need today is your book covers, however many. I'm going to lay the one aside here so I'm not trying to work with 2 at a time. I have some others over here. We'll just see, time-wise. This should be a fairly shorter video. However, you never know in my studio. So, I also have some strips of cardboard that I've pre-cut. They're not perfect, but it doesn't really matter because all we're going to do is use them to reinforce the inside spines. I have this fabric type binding ribbon. I don't know what you call this stuff. It's more like a canvasy ribbon or strip of material. It came in a strip like this, so I'm going to use this for my side pieces. And I also have some fabric tape in here to kind of reinforce spines once I get the cardboard glued in, if that is necessary. So I already have my pieces cut to size. That's for my other book, so I'm going to lay that aside. Oh yes, other tools you would need. I'm going to use my glue pen. You could use Fabrifix if you don't have one, or you could use a glue gun if that's what you have. And I have my scissors for cutting my canvasy type material ribbon here. If you wanted to cut a piece of muslin or a piece of heavier fabric to use, you could do that. I think thinner cotton fabrics might give with time, and I want these to last me quite a while. And I think that's all the supplies we're going to need today. Not much. You could, if you wanted to, decorate the front, cover the front. This has like a glossy type on it. It does, something hit the floor here, folks, and I hope it's nothing that I needed. Probably not. We'll hope so anyway. I do have a thing flaw like right here in the spine. I'll probably likely cover the outside with some of this fabric tapes I have over here from Tim Holtz, and I will later work to remove this. I have some anti-sticky stuff. If you don't have that, you could even use lemon oil and just put a little bit on a cloth and get this off pretty quickly. This one has this nice coating, so other than reinforcing it, I'm going to leave it with the cover that it is. However, you could come in here and cover it with a digital scrapbook paper, whatever you'd like. It really isn't necessary. I also have these nice white insides that I'm not going to fuss with covering as well, but if you would choose to do that, that certainly would be an option for you. So, before we start here with the edges, I'm going to move a few things so I don't, these books kind of expand, so I'm going to lay these things in my lap so I don't end up dropping them on the floor before I get to them. I'll lay the other spine right here as well, and I will use the spine I've got here. This is not just cardstock, it's actually a piece of pressed cardboard or pressed board, whatever you might call it. It came from a shipping box where scrapbook.com shipped me some large 12 by 12 paper, and it was flat, and I just cut it from that. So I did really cut it because I want this spine to be able to expand as much as possible when we put books in here. And this just seemed to be the right size to do this. And I want it to lay flat here on my tray because I want to kind of push this down in here after I get the glue in. And then we're going to use the fabric washi tape or fabric sticky tape to reinforce it so that putting things down inside are not going to get hung up on anything. Again, you could use a piece of lace. Probably wouldn't be great because lace can, you know, if it's a lace that's like a cotton lace, maybe so. Or you could use regular washi tape. You just want something to cover these rough edges, more or less. So let me, this only takes about 6 seconds to heat up. I use it on videos because it's just so much easier to use for me. So I'll give it a few minutes here while let it get heated up. I'm going to move my scissors before they end up in the floor as well. So is anybody making anything exciting in your craft room today? Or are you out enjoying that sunshine with friends or grandchildren or families? Okay, let's see if we're getting hot here. Just another second or two. I did post the Baby Girl Journal for sale, so if you missed that, please check out my channel. It's also posted on Paper Wheels on Instagram, and it's posted with Junk Journal with Paper Wheels on Facebook as well. All right, I think we're good. The glue's starting to leak out the end, so I'm just going to put some glue down on here. Now, when I'm using, I do have my fan on, so hopefully it doesn't cause my glue to dry a lot. I'm going to just quickly try to get some glue down in here because I don't want it to start drying before I get this in, and that's why I'm going to reinforce it to make sure it doesn't have any opportunity to work its way out of here. Okay, I think that'll be good. And I'm just going to take this, start up at the top, and shove it down in the little crack I've got here. And press down good so that it presses into that space there in the book. And I don't end up with part of it lumped up from the pile of glue I had in there and part of it not. Okay, that's really all you need to do to reinforce the spine, folks. It's pretty simple. Let's see what I've got here to do a little reinforcement. I have this washi tape. Nobody's going to see it, so it really doesn't matter what kind it is. This just says, I mean, it's beautiful, but because of the colors, it's probably not something I would use on a regular basis. So I'm just going to cut a piece. This comes with a sticky back if you've never used it before. You can pretty much find it at any craft store, online, anywhere. And you just want to cut a piece. If you wanted to make sure it's perfectly straight, you could line it up with your craft mat. However, since it's inside the book and I'm using it for myself, I'm not worried too much if it, as long as it seals my edges, if it ends up a little on the crooked side. So let me cut this. I'm going to cut it right here. There seems to be a fold there, so I'm just going to take advantage of that and cut it right here, which is really close to what I needed. Doesn't take a lot. You wouldn't want to use this on your edges though, because it'll have sticky on the inside. You don't want the inside of your folder to be sticky with your papers. So let's see if this will peel easily for me. And it looks like it is. These are usually sticky enough that you don't have to add more sticky to them, unless you would put them down, pull them back up. So I'm not going to worry about it. If it comes loose in the future, I will add more glue to it. So you just want to get a hold of the top and bottom. Usually if you do it like that, then when you put it down, if you hold it straight, you can tell if you're getting it down straight. And there's like a line. I don't know if you can see it there, but I'm using that to judge the straightness of laying my tape down. Then I'm just going to push it down along the edges so it will hold. And up at the top, it got a little crooked on me, so I'm going to see if I can pull it over. Yeah, that worked. And then I'm just, you could use a bone folder. I didn't want to have, with these large books, more tools on my desk. So I'm simply using the edge of my scissors, and my scissors are kind of dull pointed. So I'm going to use the point to just push that down in, right in the little crevice that's there, to make it sure it gets really pushed down in there. I'm going to do the same pushing down along the edge on this other side. All right, there we go. If you wanted, you could just simply fold this over. However, I like the outside. Well, actually, you know what? On this book, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to go ahead and do it because we need to reinforce the outside of this one's spine as well, because it had a hole through. So I'm simply going to fold this over and fold it over at the top. See, just fold it over. So when I flip my book all the way over without hitting my camera, you have this. You have a little piece at the top, little piece at the bottom. And then you could cut a second piece to put down the outside of your spine if you choose to do so. Again, this spine got cut, and obviously I didn't get it real straight on the inside, but that's okay. As long as I'm covering up my cut here in the spine, I think I'll be okay. So I'm going to cut me a piece for the outside. This time, since it goes over the edge already, I'm just going to cut it a little short of the book so that it will lay on itself on the other tape. So give it a cut here. Whoops. And this was kind of low because I've used it on other books. So I still have that little piece that can be used on something. to a small journal spine or something to reinforce. These washi tapes make one. I'm going to cut that piece a little straighter since it's so crooked. These fabric tapes make wonderful tapes to reinforce the outside of spines. You could also use bookbinding tape. Let's see, duct tape if you wanted. You could use clear tape if that's what you have. You could glue down lace or fabric on the outside, just something to give it. If you have a piece of leather, you could even use that. However fancy you want to make your little folio. I just did not want to actually attach signatures in a book this large, and if I'm using a journal, I prefer a smaller size one, so that's why I thought, storage would work. Now, if somebody else has done this, I've not seen the videos. I just happened to think of it. So if anybody else has done it, please comment below. If you have other ideas on how to use large books like this without turning them into journals, comment below. I always welcome likes and comments on my videos. Share what you like, share what you've done. If you want to post a picture to my Junk Journal with Paper Wheels site on Facebook, or share something with me on Instagram, that would be great as well. I love to see what you're doing out there. That's how we get inspired, is to see other people's work. If you have the stuff laying at your house and you're afraid to start your junk journal, you're never going to do it until you just do it. So just make yourself one and you'll learn from it as you do it. So now we have this, and you know, I've got a pretty sturdy spine here. So where we could simply put my pieces of material on the inside. However, I'm going to put it on the outside because I think it'll make my folio much sturdier. So I've got my canvas material ribbon here. I don't know what you call this. Does anybody know what you call this stuff when it comes like this? I don't know. I'm not going to fray it along the edges or anything because I want this to, you know, be a sturdy storage folio for digitals and 8.5 by 11 papers that I have. So I'm just going to cut this across here. If my scissors, yeah, there they go. Just got to get them right here. And then I'm going to use the one I cut to cut me a second piece for this book. And go ahead and cut both pieces. Just flattening it out here and cutting me a second piece to put along here. As I said, the heavier fabrics will do better for you. All right, here we go. Now my glue pen does shut off on me in between, but the beauty of this particular glue pen is that it heats up in 6 seconds. So even if it shuts off and starts to, you just put it back on. It does charge. There's a charging port here. I have not had anything with mine. However, they did send me a message stating that some of them are having issues. So, and if they do, they said you can contact them for a replacement. So, the newer ones that you purchased probably would not have those issues now. They would have the newer ones out for sale by now. So I'm really not, they didn't even tell me what the issue would be, but I'm not having any problem with mine. So I didn't request a replacement. It wasn't really recalled, so. All right. So what I'm going to do is simply, once my glue starts to flow here, still got plenty of glue pen, I'm going to put my glue right along here. I do want to see, you know, about where I'm going to put it. So as it's heating up, let me check here and see, because I want to try to get, you know, enough to where I have enough to cover the other side. Okay, so it looks like right below that will be where I'm going to put it. Or excuse me, right about a 1/2 inch along the edge, and that'll give me enough to fold around on the other side. Right below my little frame there, and I can use that nice little picture for a straight line. It's always good, if you don't like measuring, that you can use something as a reference for your straight line when you're doing this. Or really any project for that matter, especially if you don't like, let me pull this back a little for you guys. Especially if you don't like measuring. There we go. That is be a little bit better. You'll be able to see better what I'm doing here. Ah, shut off on me again. Here we go. And I'm just going to put some along here and stop before I get all the way across, because I don't want that glue to start to set up. I want to have a chance to get my fabric pressed down on here real good. So get that pressed down real good and press it in there real hard. It should dry really quickly. This glue gun usually does. Oh, you don't want to glue down the other side of the ribbon, Miriam. Only Miriam could do such a thing. All right. I accidentally glued down the wrong side of my fabric ribbon here. Ah, we'll just use the scissors and cut it off. I think that part is the part I'm going to be cutting off the edge anyway, so it's not really going to matter as far as the end's concerned. But I don't need this extra glue in here, since it'll leave a goopiness in there. And I want to get it off the fabric, so I'm just going to cut that off there. And I think that'll be okay. If I can get it off there, I will. See, if you're new to junk journaling, that ought to tell you that even somebody who's worked at them, you know, I've been making them for over a year now, and I've made several as gifts. I've listed the first one to sell just now. And earlier today, that is. No, actually, it was... When did I do that? I recorded it earlier today. However, when this video goes up, it'll be a couple days old. So, I don't know about other people, but I gotta record videos in advance, because getting them done to some days I just don't have the energy, folks. So I like to do them when I got some energy, and try to do some in advance for you. If you ever have ideas for videos or something you might like to see in my videos, please feel free to comment below on what you might like to see done, or shown how I do something that you've seen done elsewhere even. I love the way that ribbon goes with the pink on this particular journal, and with the cross-stitch picture, it just kind of reminds me of a material that you would use, say, as an embroidery material, or tablecloth, or something like that. I just think it's really cool. Alright, I'm going to do the same on the back here. I'm going to start at the cover. It's better to start at the cover and work your way out, I think. Try to get what I think will be the edge here. However, if I get it down and it's not the edge, I can always go back in and add a little more glue or trim it. I do want to make sure that I've got enough expansion for my spine. So I'm going to try to pull that back if it'll let me a little bit. There we go. And these are going to hold as much as, say, a file folder might, that you would get from that didn't get pushed down on this side apparently. There we go. These will hold as much as, say, a file folder would hold. I mean, even if you expand a file folder just slightly, these would hold as much. You're going to get a good 1/2 inch. Whoops. Good job, Miriam. Getting your glue everywhere. Okay. Again, I'm just going to kind of stretch the edge of that to where I've got my glue. And this glue here, usually if you get your, before it completely gets like really super duper hard, you can roll it off or even use your fingernail or a little scrapey thing to scrape the glue off. Well, that got a little dry on me. So, oh, here's a little scrapey tool. You could use your craft knife. I also have this little, as soon as I reach it here, folks. This is why my videos go so long, because sometimes we have mistakes. And I would rather show you those. I don't edit them out, because I'm sure everybody makes mistakes in their craft room, and you want to see what a good way to fix your mistakes are. I don't have a lot of strength. Anybody else with strength could probably just pop this right off here. I just don't have it. So it's being stubborn on me. Well, anyway, folks, don't be like me, get it on your thing. I'll probably likely take a knife and cut it off later, but I don't want to do that. I'm still obsessed with getting this thing off here. Oh, it's coming off now. Here we go. Well, I was wrong. It doesn't want to come off. All right, I'll get it the rest. It's prying up. I'll get it the rest of the way off there later on. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm going to go ahead and put my other side piece of material on the other side. So you could, again, see how you do it. Maybe this time I can avoid getting the glue all over me or the book. And usually these, if they do turn off on you, it does have that safety feature where it turns off even when they're fully charged. If it does shut off on you, you can just turn it back on and it's usually ready to go. See, it's already coming out here. I have a shorter glue stick in, so it looks like I'll have enough to finish this. And that'll probably put me at slightly over 30 minutes, so that will be a good length for you. If you have any questions about anything I've done, you're welcome to comment below. And I'll see if I got some papers over here to the side so I can show you how this works. Pretty simple, actually. Any beginner could do this particular project because there's not much to it. All right. And we're just going to put this down on the side. I kind of pulled the other side a little tighter than I wanted to, so this time I'm going to lay my hand under here so I don't end up doing it on this side. Again, I want to start at the spine. I almost didn't do that, so you know, we'll pay attention that you don't start and glue down your fabric from the outside up, or excuse me, from the top down, because when you go to use this will actually be your top. This will, and the spine is going to be the bottom. Okay, I'm going to turn this around so that I can get my glue pen in here and get the rest of this down. There we go. And you could put a fancy little label from one of your labels on here. Or you could make a label sticker or anything, just like a file folder. If you want to put a tab on it, you could glue a tab on it and label your tab. Either way, works just fine. I didn't think to get my tabs out, that just popped into my brain, so most likely I will do that at a later time. I do have some labels laying on my tray, but I don't want to use those. I'll probably likely use something else. And then I'm just going to trim off the top here along the edge of my book. Hopefully my scissors will cut double on this fabric. There we go. We'll trim that down, and I'm going to go back and reinforce the top edge a little bit on both sides so that it stays on better and doesn't come apart up there. You know, I didn't make one of these in advance, so you're seeing what the reality is here. No prototype. So it's really just I can't get my scissors close enough to get that trimmed because I keep moving it. So I'm just gonna cut it like this, and I'm holding this other hand over here so my scissors don't keep slipping on me. Well, maybe I should set it up on its edge or something, because that certainly is not. Here we go. All right. Maybe the more of these I do, the better I'll get at it. I also don't have fabric scissors. All right, so I'm just going to take my glue gun and reinforce my edges here where that one is good along the actual book edge, but I'm going to reinforce this piece here in the corner. That one, okay. Let's just put a little, oh, I got a glue string. That's all right. We'll just ignore it for a minute. I'm going to put some glue in there, both to hold those frazzled edges so that it doesn't frazzle some more, and to keep it from, this one's just picked up stuff off my tray and scrappies. It won't hurt it. That one, we'll put a little bit more glue in here. And you probably should use a silicone spatula of some kind to push your glue down so you don't end up like I do with glue all over your fingers and messing up your project with all the little glue stringies and thingies. So I'm going to put a little bit in here, and then I'm going to trim this side off from the outside, because as you can see, when I put my spine in there, again, lesson learned, yeah, Marion, glue your scissors right to it too. Woo! Just not my day in the craft room, folks. All right, we're going to cut this off here. All right, mine kind of, when I glued my spine in, the front is a little bit longer than the back. So be real careful when you put your spine in that you don't let it do that if you don't want it to. So now you have a folio here that you can store papers down in. And you'll have quite a few papers in there. If you wanted to, you could put a little closure here with either your material or some of the fabric washi tape. You could also make like a policy closure if you chose to do that. I'm not going to put closures on mine for now. So really, folks, that's it. That's what you get when you're done. And you can do the same with any size book cover. You just simply put your material up the edge, and that creates your little folder folio to put your book pages in. And now you have a storage folio for extra pages. I believe I have some here. Let me, oh, I did. Can't seem to get my hands on them at the moment. So I'll be right back. You give me just a minute here. Okay, I have this little notes book that I put together. So I'm going to show you with it. You just simply put your papers down in your little opening. And see, after putting that in there, I still have lots more room to add papers here. And I can just pull that right out. So that's what we have, folks. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial today, and I hope you make yourself some of these paper folios. If you do, please post below or post on my Facebook, and always like, share, and subscribe to my videos. It always helps the growth of my channel and the algorithms. So you all have a wonderful day. Later, everybody.